Now, Rob, we have never really like.
What up, man, by the way? What up? What
We've
up? What
never
up?
really like
What up, B?
intertwined too much throughout the years.
Nah, not really.
We have not, right? And I think that me and you are like different type of DJs. You are more like a technical type DJ, correct? Would you say?
That's fair to say.
Right?
Yeah.
And I always tell people there's like, and I may be getting around like 5 different type of DJs. Like it's a radio DJ, a club DJ, a technical DJ.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other 2? What would you say?
Mixtape DJ.
Mixtape, yes, mixtape DJ.
Now with technology, you have TikTok DJs.
Okay, yeah.
That's a thing now?
That's a thing.
Yes, there's the TikTok DJs. Yes, there are plenty. Yes, sir.
Ma'am, but okay.
Before we get into this book that you, I want to have DJ talk, right? What have you seen that you dislike about the evolvement of DJs?
I'm laughing because I know when this airs, I'm going to get a lot of DMs from people talking about I'm hating, but the truth, man.
Okay.
And I feel like with regards to how DJing has evolved from the 70s, the days of Herc, Bambaataa, Flash, Theodore.
You from Queens?
I'm from Queens. Jackson
Okay, Queens.
Heights.
Gotcha.
Yep. But I grew up listening to those mixtapes of the crafters of the kind of DJing that you and I are popular for, whether it's in a club, in a battle, mixing records together, cutting it up. I studied this art form since the 70s. And when I compare what's going on now to back then, I just feel like technology has diluted the art form.
Tell me why.
I say that because it's easier to do now.
Okay.
Right? So I always use the analogy of math. If you, Bianca, let's say, wanted me to teach you math, would I be doing you a disservice if I taught you the math with the calculator first or with a pencil, I should say, and paper?
Calculator first.
Right? So the reason you say the calculator would be doing you a disservice is because with the calculator, you punch in numbers and you get the right answer. So you're gassing yourself into thinking you know math, when in fact, the calculator's doing the majority of the work. All you're doing is taking your finger and punching in 5 plus 5, then equals. So you get 10 and you're like, yo, I'm a master at math. Like I never get the answers wrong. Mm-hmm. But if I give you a pencil and paper, and let's say you've been doing math all your life with a calculator, and I give you a pencil and paper, and I write 5 plus 5, what does that total? You're not gonna know how to play with the numbers. So I use that analogy to say in 2024, the calculator is the equivalent of a DJ app or a controller where you could man the gear and play music and be under the illusion that you're DJing when in fact the equipment is doing the majority of the work for you. And that's what I'm seeing a lot on social media, in the clubs, and as a result, the fundamentals of DJing have been lost over the years.
What do you say to a person that says, and I'm using your analogy of the calculator, is when you do math, the purpose of having 5 plus 5 equals 10 is the bottom line is 10.
Right.
You don't make a difference where if it came from out of your head or if it came from a calculator, the answer is 10. You understand? So if I use the analogy of a controller or an app, the equal sign is the music is being played and enjoyed by the audience that's listening.
Right. So my retort to that would be, what if you're in a room with a bunch of DJs and there are no controllers or laptops and everyone's just going back to back on vinyl? Are you going to sit down and just watch and be like, yo, well, I'm gonna skip this one out, fellas. I'm gonna just watch y'all. And you're a DJ, and everyone's going up there playing their music, having fun, doing mixes. Each person is jumping in and out of the turntables. You're just gonna sit down and be like, nah, I'm not gonna play because I don't have the controller in front of me.
I'm going to answer that question, but I want so you could understand me. I feel like I am the person that's the bridge. And when I say the bridge, meaning I remember and I was around carrying crates. And I am a person that adapted and I am acceptive of technology. So
am I.
Okay,
So
right.
I think we are on the same page there.
Okay, so, but I identify with younger DJs at a certain point. I may stop. But I know a lot of them may say, well, who cares about vinyl? They don't sell vinyl anymore. Everything is here. Why? The analogy you said, I'm in the room full of DJs, that's like highly impossible to happen.
Okay, let me give you a different analogy.
Okay.
Let's say you're inside a club, you're in a DJ booth playing, you get to the venue, and you're a controller DJ. You get to the venue, and the controller's not there. They have two turntables. Someone spilt water on the controller. So they sent it to get repaired, and they have two Technique 1200s there and Serato records for you to plug your laptop in. And you don't know how to work the turntables. Does the party all of a sudden have to stop because...
So let me ask you a question.
But before you ask me a question, what's your answer to that retort?
I'm going to answer it. I feel that a controller, and I could be wrong, I feel like a controller and the turntable of the Technique they are basically the same. It's just a different feel. Why I say that it's the same? Because the turntable now, you're using a Serato vinyl, which is the same as a controller.
But the thing is DJs that use controllers typically don't put their hand on the jog wheel. They hit buttons.
The buttons, okay.
To start the song, to launch the song, let's say on a one. You see them on TikTok
Slam,
a lot.
I call it slam DJ.
Exactly.
I am a slam DJ.
So let's say...
I'm guilty of that.
My thing to you is this. Most people that start DJing on controllers, let's say you don't DJ, you want to become a DJ, the first gear you buy is a controller. DJs like that, people that are learning, are punching in those numbers like they're punching in the numbers on a calculator, right? They're not picking up the pencil and putting the paper in front of them and writing the numbers, and you see what the numbers are doing. They're not doing that, which would be the equivalent of using turntables. So my thing is, again, back to my scenario. This DJ, Joe Schmo, started out on controllers, never used Technique 1200s. He has a residency at such and such nightclub every Friday. One Friday he walks in, the controller's not there. It's broken. They have turntables there, Serato records, and they have a Rain 70 mixer that allows you to plug the mixer into your laptop. What is that DJ gonna do if he or she never actually picked up a piece of vinyl, doesn't know how to pick up a needle and place it on the vinyl, doesn't know how to trust their ear to move the pitch dial to the right spot to get those two songs synced in? The response from you might be, well, they could just look at the laptop. At the end of the day, it's about getting the answer right. So they could just look at the laptop and make sure that the BPMs on both sides are identical. When you're looking at the computer screen, you're engaging your eyes and you stop listening as much. So my thing is, because mixing, scratching, backspinning, beat juggling, quick mixing, all of the techniques that we employ now as DJs, because these techniques were created on turntables, is not, or not because, what I should say is the fact that these techniques were created on turntables is not a coincidence.
Okay.
And since 2005, since CDJs came out and DJ apps like Serato DJ, you can name me one technique that has been created or developed or cultivated. So like, let's say in the last 20 years, there's not one technique. Every technique that a DJ does, whether it's on a controller, with the exception of hitting a button, which isn't a technique, right? Every technique that a DJ employs to play music, queuing up.
Well, cue points are techniques.
Nah, it's not a technique. Cue points it's just a feature. It's not a technique.
But you still have to learn. You still have to learn or memorize, right? Your cue points.
But that's not a technique. That's just basically like getting inside a truck and knowing, all right, what's drive, what's reverse, what's neutral. You know what I mean? Like you're just moving a knob to, if you want to go forward, okay, D, move it to drive, and then you move forward. Remembering that is like some basic first grade shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not a technique, bro. A technique is listening in your headphones to the song that you're about to play that's being mixed by you, right? And you're moving the pitch down where you need to move it so that the song that's incoming is playing at the same speed of the song it's playing outside of the speakers that your audience is dancing to, and focusing enough to split your attention and know that the song in your headphones might be a little too fast, so you gotta slow it down a little and move that pitch dial to the left until it locks in for about, let's say, 15 seconds, so that when you're transitioning from the song that the audience is listening to the new song that you've got queued up that they don't even know is coming yet, it's smooth. That's technique.
Now, again, I'm going to say, I would love, I just want to say this again because I don't want people to be unclear. What you're saying is I would love for it to be that way. But I am a person that's a realist or realityist.
I get that.
Of what it is. So
I respect
me
that.
say that. So so this in the same sentence, right? And I wish there was a younger DJ here to have that conversation with you about how they particularly feel. I think I am the bridge. But in the same sentence, and so you're listening, we saying 2005, what technique has what?
Name one.
So I can say, name one technique since 2005 that the turntablist has created.
Do you understand, Self, that what you and I do was not meant for us to do?
What you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, when you look at a turntable, Thomas Edison invented the turntable. And its purpose is for you to drop a needle on a piece of vinyl which has captured sound and then walk away from it and enjoy the music from a distance, right? In the 1970s, youth, like specifically Grandmaster Flash, Grand Wizard Theodore, Jazzy J, Tony Tone, Charlie Chase, Grand Mixer DST.
Okay, good.
Right?
I want you to say their names. All right, let me say this before. I wasn't around at the time, but I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
So when I say me being from Brooklyn, there've been arguments that Grandmaster Flowers
was
like
a disco DJ. He was
I'm just saying, but we're talking about the turntable. We're not talking about, right? We're talking about the turntables.
But what I'm talking about, what we do to the turntable.
Got you. Go ahead.
Right?
Okay.
So the turntable was invented by Thomas Edison for us to pick up a needle, place it on a piece of vinyl, which has captured sound, and then you walk away from the turntable and listen to the music from a distance. But in the 70s, these youth redefined the purpose of the turntable, because in the Bronx specifically, New York City, during that time, we were dealing with a crazy ass world. Fiscally, the Bronx was not being supported by the government. You had marginalized kids that couldn't gain access to, let's say, band in school didn't have parents that could afford drum kits for them to learn how to play drum, or bass guitars for them to learn how to play bass. So they transformed the use of the turntable into an instrument, right? And they became musicians on the turntable. And so from the late, let's say mid 70s through the early 1990s, these techniques were being formed on a piece of gear that wasn't meant for a kid in the Bronx or in Queens or in Brooklyn to use as an instrument. So by 2005, the language, the lexicon of what DJing is, mixing, scratching, backspinning, beat juggling, all the different techniques that we incorporate as DJs to ultrasound and play songs and stuff, was formed. Now this new piece of gear came out, a CDJ. And people who use it, people who swear by it, haven't done anything creative on it. They're using techniques that people...
I'm gonna disagree with you.
All right, so again, name me one technique.
I'm gonna disagree with you with the. Oh wait, you saying? Are you talking about as far as the DJing?
I'm saying people that use...
I thought you were talking about the invention of it. Okay.
What I'm saying is people that use turntables, like Brown Wizard Theodore, Grandmaster Flash, that help create all of this, all of the techniques that we see DJs use now on controllers, right? The reason they created those techniques was because they were forced to be creative. They were forced to think outside of the box and be like, yo, what can I do with this turntable? This clunky machine that's in front of me, what can I do to it to create sound, to create...
Let me ask you, so what do you say to, and I'm using me as a mid-level and say, okay, well, people from back in the days, they use technology also, because from my understanding, the first turntable were belt drive.
Correct.
Then it turned to direct drive,
Correct.
which made it easier to be a DJ. So when I say that to you, right, and this is the same thing as a controller, a belt drive.
No, it's not.
Okay. When I say the same thing as a controller, meaning it made the technique of DJing easier or better, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. At the end of the day, would
you say yes or no?
This is what I will say.
I just asked you yes or no first.
This is what I would say. This is what I would say. This is what I would say.
You met your man.
Right now, if let's use Bianca for an example. Let's say Bianca was like, yo, Self, I just got booked to DJ at Coachella. Like, they saw me on your podcast and they thought that like I have the aesthetic to close Coachella, and I'm gonna take it because they're gonna give me 50 grand. But yo, I don't DJ. You could be like, no problem, B, I got you. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna build a set for you. I'm gonna build an hour-long set for you. Take my laptop, right? Take my controller. I'll fly out there with you. I'm gonna turn everything on for you, right? And then when you go up there, all you gotta do is hit enter. And then my mix is gonna start that I pre-recorded for you, right? It's an hour-long mix. All you gotta do, Bianca, is stay in front of the gear and act like you're DJing for an hour.
I can do that, by the way.
Right?
Holla at me.
And boom, she gets off stage, promoter gives her the 50 grand, you get your percentage, everyone's happy, right?
Yes.
If this was 25 years ago,
You've never seen.
Hold on. If this was 30 years ago, Bianca could not get away with doing that because you can't fake
I disagree. Let me tell you something.
You can't fake a set on two turntables.
Rob Swift, bro. I've seen it every once a week in my life. After coming from school, I saw that on in Living Color. I saw DJ S1, which is Sean Wayne. act like he was a fucking DJ.
That's a TV show.
Same shit. Don't
no,
do
it's
that.
not. No, it's not.
It was a mix that's been played, and he was S1 the fucking DJ. Act like he was DJing the whole time. Act like he was scratching and all that.
TV show.
Yo, Rob Swift, come on, God. Where you try? Come on,
people
God.
did that. People did that in music videos too.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, so it's the same thing.
It's not the same thing because a live Coachella set, you cannot fake.
It's the same thing. You fake it. You act like you're scratching.
Turntables.
Yes, you can. You just press play. You act like you scratching.
How could you if a record is playing self?
I'm listening.
Now you're reaching, bro.
I'm not reaching.
If a record is playing,
you was 100% aware that S1W was not DJing on Live in Living Color.
That's a pre-recorded TV show.
But it still was a pre-recorded mix.
I'm talking
Coachella
about a
is
live
live.
set.
That is
a
a
live
difference.
set on turntables. You can't fake that. It's the equivalent of giving someone 2 drumsticks and telling them, play this drum kit. You can't fake that. Either you could play the drums or not. Either you could pick up a bass
and act like you playing the bass.
The only way you could get away with doing that is if you actually went through the trouble of fucking setting up an alternate set and you're in some fucking backstage corner behind a curtain playing your set. But I mean, that is extreme, bro.
Rob, I'm super confused right now. Rob, you can press play on anything. You can press play on the tape back then. You can press play on the DAT.
Yeah, but you can't
press play
fake
on anything.
scratches.
Yes, you can.
How?
This is the same thing as you saying to me. You can fake with the controller.
Yes, if you pre-record self.
How many times you slept with your Technique 1200 in the bed?
They're in the room next to me.
I bet.
I practice every single day.
As you should. Salute.
Since 1983.
So
nonstop.
And I did come from that era that I used to.
Yeah.
You know, and some people may say, dag self, that you conform to what is today.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And I have.
Right.
Because again, technology moves. You know, same thing as cooking when you said food.
But the thing about it is
in microwave ovens.
Technology moves.
With some air fryers.
Technology moves and you moved with it. But someone like Bianca who wants to learn how to DJ should not take 50 grand from a festival like Coachella without, that's robbing people, bro. Like she has no idea what to do as a DJ, and she's asking you hypothetically, Bianca.
Yeah, I would never do that.
To pre-record a set, and then she's getting up on stage faking it. That's what technology allows you to do now, and to me.
But I think you could have done that back then too. I just gave you an example.
Has that ever happened?
S1W.
Has that ever happened? Live?
Let me say this. I don't know as far as DJing because I can't. But I know that. Well, let me say this. Yes, because I've been places, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas an artist say, "Yo, DJ for me," right? But they already got a DAT played. But they just wanted me act like they had a DJ.
But that's corny though. But
it has happened.
That's yeah. I mean, but it has happened again. But it can't happen on turntables.
Yes, it can. You put a turntable there and you acting like you scratching.
But you're saying someone is playing a DAT. That's technology. The DAT is the equivalent to a controller. That's still
that's a tape, but that is a
digital. Tape. It's digital technology, right?
It's a tape, though,
it's
man.
Digital technology. Yeah. All right, here's the thing. Let's just say this. If I gave,
you know what a DAT is?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So DAT stands for digital audio tape.
It's a tape. To me, it's a tape.
And here's what in the 90s.
It's a great sounding tape. It's a good sounding tape.
It's a digital audio tape. And in the 90s, what happened was rappers that didn't want to pay their DJs to tour with them because they got to put up extra money for a hotel room, give them a percentage of their show money. What they would do is they would travel with DAT machines. So they would go to the studio, outline their show on a DAT tape, and then their road manager would put the DAT tape inside the DAT machine and hit play and sit in front of or stand in front of the DAT machine while the rapper was performing their show. leaving the DJ at home, do you think that as a DJ self, do you think that is respectful of our art form?
I don't. But what I'm saying to you,
You had me worried for a second,
No,
bro.
I don't.
All right, yeah.
But you're going. That's a whole different road.
It's not. You brought up the dat.
No, the road I'm going to is you saying that has never happened. Whereas people don't fake, or back then you can't fake it, and I'm telling you, you can, because they used to have a DAT machine because the DATs never skipped.
Yeah, but
Records
they're not.
skipped.
But they're not faking. They're basically saying, "Fuck the DJ. I don't need the DJ."
No, because sometimes I've DJed for artists, or I've faked DJ for artists because they wanted, maybe they charge more for the DJ, whatever. But they, it's like, all right, the record may skip. So for this to be a flawless show, I'm gonna play the DAT. You just stand there and DJ and hype up the crowd.
Yo, that's crazy.
And act like you DJ.
That's crazy.
You understand what I'm saying? Because records skip.
That's crazy.
You know, rest in peace to Big Cat. That's the famous thing for all us DJs.
Yeah.
Not Fat Joe. Biggie Smalls was on an MTV show or something like that, and the record kept skipping, and he threw a water bottle at Big Cat because he messed up the whole thing. Yeah, that's like every DJ seen that. Like, damn, because that's like our worst nightmare for an artist to throw something at us because the record is skipping or whatever, and that's super embarrassing.
Right, but then you had DJs like Jam Master Jay.
I've never seen this record skip. I don't know what the hell he did.
Have you ever heard the song "Here We Go"?
Yeah, Here We Go.
Yeah, right. Towards the end, while DMC's rapping, the record skips. You hear it on the record, the actual recording, and Jay figures out a way to keep the drums on beat, and DMC keeps rapping. So that's the difference between a rapper and a DJ that is refined in their skill and his practice, and a rapper and a DJ that haven't practiced and probably never rehearsed. Because if the record skips, as a DJ what you got to do to keep that rhythm going for your rapper. And if you can't figure that out, bro, then I'm sorry, man. No disrespect to Cap, R.I.P., but he wasn't as technically sound.
No, Cap was 100% he was not.
Yeah, he was not as technically sound.
No, it was not. Cap was not. Dirty Records, everything. Yes, Cap was my man. Cap was a very good friend of mine. Cap was not.
And that's why it's important to learn the math with a pencil and paper, because regardless of the situation, whether you're using turntables and the needle's skipping on you, or you're using a controller and it's acting up, if you have that wisdom, that understanding of how to carry yourself on whatever gear that you're using, then you could get through a show or get through a set and it not be an issue. You know what I'm saying? And the crowd kind of see you're in this dilemma. The needle skipping. You're having issues with the controller. Maybe one side is acting up, and you figure that shit out. You play on one side, forget the other side. Like, having to troubleshoot and figure your shit out and problem solve is something that DJs today, because they're just using the top. You pick up their phone, they're just using the calculator, punching in numbers.
I'm going to say this to you, Bianca, because Rob right now, he's putting his fist up, but crossing his fingers behind his back.
But he's saying that it's important, if you're going to be a DJ, to know the origin.
I agree. I did say I agree.
And that's not just a DJ. I think that's in general. That's like being a supervisor or a manager.
I did say I agree.
You always want to know what your workers, like how they get their jobs done, right? Because if they walk out, you as a good manager should be able to sit in that seat and do their job. Right? So I think that's the same sentiment.
No,
that's not what he's saying.
No, it is. You need to be able to troubleshoot.
No, that's what he's saying, because you can get the job done without using turntables. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So again, this is what I love turntables. I grew up with my first turntable was a Learnatech. Okay. A Learnatech, whatever, I put something like that, right? Learnatech, and I had the belt drive first. After the belt drive, I got a couple dollars. I got the direct drive. I had one though, right? One in the tape deck. Then I think my grandmother, my mother for Christmas gave me a pair of Techniques, right? And the silver ones. I never had the 1210s. I always had the silver ones. But me saying that to you is you made me forget what the fuck I was about to say.
I had that effect on people.
look, man.
Fuck what you gonna say. Oh, what I'm saying, right, is I just think that you know the kids today, that's not they don't really sell techniques like that. One,
They
right?
sell turntables.
But what's what I'm saying? When I go into it's controllers everywhere, because this is what the technology is today.
Right. Yeah, you could still use controllers like turntables and not rely on the BPMs of the laptop to mix.
That's the
Use
same
your
thing
ear.
as a record, a Serato record.
Yeah, I use my ear when I mix and I DJ. I don't.
But you can do that with a controller.
Right, but because the controller allows you to not engage your ear, students
does
are making,
the Serato record.
right. Well, the thing is,
I'm confused.
students. Here's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Students that use controllers, I say students because you're still learning.
All the time.
Right? Exactly.
Yes.
But more so, you're a beginner at DJing and you're buying a controller, right? So my thing is, let's say the answer is Z. The answer is Z. And we have the alphabet. And the final answer is Z. And you're at A. When you use turntables, you stop at B, and then at C, and then at D, and then at E, until you get to Z. I'm at Z now. Someone that decides today, because they saw a TikTok video of someone DJing, to buy controllers, they're at A. And they're gonna make this quantum leap to Z and skip B, C, D, E, F. And when they do that, when they make this quantum leap and skip all of the letters in between A and Z, you're saying, Rob, they're getting the answer, they're getting Z. And what I'm saying is they're getting Z, but they don't even fucking know why. And so if you're gonna get controllers, then at least have the discipline to learn how to engage your ears and trust yourself, because at the end of the day, if you don't do that, it's not really you DJing, it's the equipment. And to me, what Theodore, Flash, DST, Jazzy J, Tony Tone, Charlie Chase, Jam Master Jay, what all these guys did, for you to really understand what this art is about, you gotta learn it the way they did. And then once you understand the math with a pencil and paper, then by all means move on from that and you could graduate to controllers or CDJs. You know, I'm not about saying no to technology. I just want the art to evolve in a creative way. And from what I'm seeing now, it's at a stalemate.